Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann, and I'm going to bitch about the state fair. Because on Saturday, I went to the state fair with my friend Rick James and his brother Joey. And we had a gay old time.
Hi.
But not the fisty kind, like the actual happy gay, where you could say that word once upon a time ago. Joining me today is...
Spacey.
That's what she wants to call herself. Who am I to intervene or argue? So, basically, on a whim, a few days ago, I was asked to go to the state fair. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do that shit. I'll tag along. My intention was to go to hand out business cards for the other show. I did not end up doing so much of that. In fact, I had so many packed into my wallet, the fucker almost wouldn't fold.
That's a lot of business cards.
Well, it's only like 20, but it doesn't take much because I've got a dad wallet.
Is that like a Costanza wallet?
Pretty much. There's too much shit. I don't have like a bunch of receipts in there, but there are some receipts.
That's good.
So we took some public transportation down. That was fun, riding the bus on the way down there. There were some very uppity white folk standing up in front of us. And apparently Rick could not keep his eyes off the ass of one of the females standing right there. He's lucky he didn't get caught.
I was just going to ask.
Her boyfriend was there.
Oh.
I don't know if you noticed, but Rick had sunglasses on. So that's why you want to wear sunglasses to the fair, so you can people watch without getting caught. Eventually, once we were there, I got a free pair of bright orange framed Care 11 sunglasses so that I could do the same thing. Because I decided, once we get there, why don't we play State Fair Bingo?
That sounds like fun.
We didn't have a sheet. I was just kind of coming up with them on the fly. And every so often we'd be walking, and I'd spot one. And it would make me think of a bunch more. I'm going to rattle off some of these options. Have you ever played State Fair Bingo?
I have never played.
So you go there and you just look for the fucked up shit. I went there looking for two things before I even decided we're playing this. I'm like, I want to see a lesbian couple where they're both wearing plaid. And I want to see a couple fighting. Because every time I go, I see a couple fighting. It's fucking awesome watching couples fight.
Isn't it, though? Especially when it's not you and you're drinking.
Well, minus the drinking part, yeah, for me. But the last time I went to the fair years ago, this guy was like walking away from his girlfriend. He's just like pointing a finger like, he didn't say any words, and he turned around. He's just like, I can't fucking believe you right now. And she's just sitting there holding some sort of confection, looking all dejected and shit. And it made me smile. Maybe because I'm a bastard, but it made me smile. Not as much as one time me and Ricky went to the Wild game. And in the parking garage, there was a girl sitting down on the curb by the stairwell, crying into her hands. And some guy, he was super pissed. And he's standing up, like shouting at her and pointing fingers down at her at the side of her head like a parent would if they found out that you were knocked up.
That's horrible.
Is it?
Being screamed at in public like that?
Well, not like full-on screamed, but he had raised his voice. She definitely had it coming because she had an alcoholic beverage in her hand. She's like, I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of you and your drunk bullshit and your goddamn attitude. All right, we're done. We're fucking done. So cry all you want, but I'm not changing my mind. This is it.
Okay, that sounds reasonable.
I came within an inch of going, I have been there and I am with you, sir. You tell her. You tell her what a stupid bitch she is.
Was she really that drunk?
I don't know. I didn't like PBT or anything. But, you know, there was a time where the Beast took me to a Wild game for Valentine's Day. Ruined the whole fucking night. Ruined it. Before we even got there. We had to go out to eat, and she had to have a drink, and then the ride down there. I didn't allow smoking in my car.
Why would you ever allow smoking in your car?
Even with the window down. Because the ash flicks back and burns holes in the upholstery. So she kept begging and begging to smoke. And we're only like 2 miles away from where we started driving from the restaurant. I had to fight with everything in me to not swerve underneath the wheels of a garbage truck. It would have been on her side. I was just like, I fucking hate you right now. And then finally I was like, fine, fuck off, smoke, fine. Just shut the fuck up. This is still 45 minutes before we even got to the game. So clearly, things were going well. And then she had to pee like crazy, and she kept like almost crying. She had to pee so bad by the time we got down to St. Paul, where I just dropped her off somewhere at like a hotel and said, all right, figure it out. I'm going to go find a place to park. I'll call you. And I did. And she was fine for a little while. But during the game, at one point she asked, how many quarters are left? And some girl in the row ahead of us looks back like, really? I'm like, this is hockey. There are periods, and there are 3 of them, so 1 is left. But she kept pounding booze, and she was being really bitchy. And she disappeared for a while to go get a beer, and she ended up at a bar drinking a beer and 2 shots because a guy bought her 2 shots, and then came back with another beer. So she was already her typically night-ruining drunken self. And then on the walk out of the arena that night, once again, it took everything in me to not grab her and throw her over the concrete wall of the concourse to fall down 2 flights of steps. Because I was just like, I fucking hate you right now. Happy Valentine's Day. Enjoy traction, bitch.
Isn't it strange how much time we spend with people we hate?
Yeah. Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving. Well, my mom yells at the side of my dad's head, and he internalizes the anger. And his acid reflux bubbles up and his heart probably starts beating irregularly. So that's why I like to see other people fight, because I've been there. I'm like, it's just so nice to be a spectator for once.
Amen.
So here's my list of State Fair bingo. I was looking for lesbians in plaid. I saw a lot of lesbians. At most, I only ever saw 1 in plaid. I was disappointed. There weren't enough Jana Shortholes there. It took me forever to find one, but I did see a couple fighting. Some guy's on the phone, and then he hangs up, and his girlfriend taps him on the shoulder from behind. He turns around and goes, Jesus Christ, don't fucking do that. You scared the shit out of me. He's 6'5", and she's like 5'1", and he's just yelling down at her. I'm like, Ricky, couple fighting. That's a point. That's a point for me.
Sounds like a nice guy.
I might count it. Look, Rick spotted a black guy with a white athlete's jersey on. Not very common to see that. You'll see the reverse all the time.
I had to think about that.
Well, there was a black guy wearing a Harrison Smith jersey. Harrison Smith, who plays for the Vikings. White guy, I think. Rick said it. I just went with it.
I am also not sure.
A female with a black eye. Did not know I wanted to see it till I saw it on the walk to the bus when we were leaving. She's just nonchalantly, she's got this tiny little shiner in her left eye. I'm like, I just saw a woman with a black eye. I'm going to count it.
You know what that black eye could be from, though?
Not knowing when to shut her bitch mouth?
Cosmetic injectables.
What?
I'm not kidding.
I like how your answer was scientific and mine was chauvinistic.
It's true, though.
Clearly, she figured it out after the first punch because she did not have 2 black eyes.
Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
A group of at least 13 Asians all walking or standing together.
Just go to East St. Paul.
Yeah, but this is the state fair, so you got to see these. I wanted to see a baker's dozen of Asians.
Did you find it?
I saw a group of 6, then I saw a group of 8, then I saw a group of 7. I'm like, okay, the numbers are getting smaller. Then there was 11, and I was so mad. And then we're like, well, we're leaving. I guess I won't see my group of 13 Asians. And then we couldn't decide if we had to go left or right out of the gate to get to our bus place. And I'm walking. I'm like, okay, 1, 2, 5. Fuck. I'm like, I'm not having any luck today. This is bullshit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, yes! And then like 6 more joined. I'm like, wow, that is a large group of Asians. It's almost like 2 amoebas joining and becoming like a super amoeba. There were so many Asians standing there. An interracial couple where the girl was taller than the guy.
I know a few of those.
It took me a few tries, approximately 6, but I found it. And it was a white girl who was a hair taller than her black boyfriend. And then later on, I saw a black chick that was way taller than her white boyfriend.
Yeah, that happens.
I don't see that out in the burbs this way very much, so it's something I wanted to see. Another thing I wanted to see, a guy with pink hair. Didn't think about it until we'd been there for 2.5 hours and we were standing by the MyPillow booth. Didn't see it then. Might have seen it earlier, I don't know. But I didn't see any others. That's unfortunate. And then finally, a fat guy with a shirt that's too short for his gut and an Audi.
That's easy.
Well, it was not, unfortunately.
Really?
There was a lot of fat guys with Audis, but their shirts were the appropriate length.
Good for them. That's
It's
difficult.
disappointing. Most people go to the fair for food. I go to see freaks. I did eat some food. Rick and Joey were pounding down beers like nobody's business, and Joey made a couple trips to the Spam booth. Not my cup of tea.
I don't like Spam either.
We stopped by the beer garita stand that was in this like big, almost like shopping mall area, this bizarre area, and there was like some guy singing Billy Joel's "We Didn't Start the Fire" at karaoke. So the whole place was like almost like a Tokyo shopping mall. And I got a burrito. And I'm like, I'm going to go healthy. I'm going to go wild rice and chicken. And it was good as hell. And I got all the way to the last bite. And I'm standing there, and I feel something running down my hand. I'm like, God damn it, there's the grease from the... And I look, and it got on my shirt and my shorts. Rick turns around and goes, did you really just get to the last bite of that, and now it's on you? I'm like, yeah, thanks for pointing that out. I'm really happy about looking like a fucking 5-year-old right now. He had an extra shirt with him that he had purchased. He's like, do you want to wear my shirt? I'm like, no, it's okay. I'll continue to look like a fucking homeless person who doesn't know how to behave himself. And then I chased it with a chicken sandwich almost immediately. Bad idea. I did not have enough to drink. So there was like a brick of food lodged in me. Eventually there was like a water fountain. And then an hour later, they went and got cheese curds. A bucket full. Which is a perfect quantity, obviously. Instead of getting like a small, medium, or large, there's paper boat worth or bucket. So they were both holding other food items and beer. So I'm like, I was the designated bucket bitch. And I was doing pretty good. Until one point when Joey bumped me and 6 of them fell on the ground. I'm like, oh no, delicious food.
Tragedy.
I'm like, you know what, 5-second rule, and I put like 3 of them in my mouth. He's like, no, this lady behind you is looking at you like you were fucking insane. I'm like, it was my penance for dropping food. So I ate some cheese curds off the ground. I'd like to think that I'm building up tolerances to bacteria and disease that way.
I would agree.
I didn't develop hoof and mouth disease yet, so that's a plus. Knock on wood. We visited some booths. We went to the Donald Trump booth, which is not a booth. It is an actual, like a storefront that has garage doors you can walk through. And there's a back patio. And as we're standing there, I'm like, do you notice something about this patio? And Ricky's like, what? I'm like, this is only white people. I look inside. There are only white people at the Donald Trump booth here. He's like, well, yeah, I suppose. I'm like, well, how fast do you think I'll get kicked out if I shout out, hooray for white privilege? I didn't. I held back. And then as we were leaving, I noticed there was a cardboard cutout of Hillary out front, and she was wearing jail stripes. They closed the cardboard cutout. And from there, Rick was on a mission to find the Libertarian booth, because we're both going to vote for Gary Johnson, because we don't want to vote for the other 2 evils. And then we found the Minnesota Constitution Party, and we're like, good luck. Haven't really heard of you.
Why do you exist?
Yeah, we got lost trying to find the Libertarian booth. And then eventually, like Indiana Jones, I found our way there. They had green shirts with a pot leaf on the front that said legalize it. On the back it said Johnson Weld 2016. Those were popular. The regular Johnson Weld ones, they didn't have Ricky's size, and he was like all sad, like, oh, you know, they're twice as much on the internet. I just wanted to get one. But I need a 2X. I'm like, dude, get the XL. He's like, the shirt I'm wearing is a 2X. And he's pulling it, and there's like all this extra material. I'm like, dude, look at how much extra... I was like a mom trying on school clothes. I'm like, look at all the extra fabric. Get the fucking XL. Yeah, okay. And then he puts it on. He's like, yeah, no, this is good. I suppose worst case scenario, it becomes a workout shirt in 2 months. Because it's not like in 2019 you're going to wear a Johnson for President 2016 shirt. Although you were telling me about, what was it, Nixon in 92 the other day?
Mm-hmm. But Nixon's pretty iconic. I mean, it's a
yeah,
little different.
Gary Johnson was only the governor of New Mexico for 8 years.
Which is a hard job.
Is it, though?
New Mexico's a cesspool.
Well, then maybe he's a strong leader and we need him more than we need the liar or the businessman.
If he's dealing with that shit, he can probably do a lot.
What else did I do? We went to the K-Fan booth because we're all big K-Fan guys. And that was the first business card I gave out. I went to go say what's up to AJ from the Power Trip Morning Show. And I handed him my card. Not right away. I'm like, dude, I know you probably get inundated with these types of things. But look, here's my card. I do a podcast. I don't get paid to do it. I make no money. I'm not trying to be famous. I do it for fun and to make people smile. So, I don't know. Check it out. Don't check it out. But just know that I'm big fans of you guys and you inspire me. He's like, yeah, cool. As we're walking away, Rick's like, did you just give your business card to AJ? Yeah. You know he's super churchy, right? He is? He's like, he is the leader of the youth group at his church. And you just gave him a business card for your show. So if he checks it out, I'm sure he's going to be immediately offended. I'm like, well, maybe he'll definitely check it out because it says the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin on my card and he thinks I'm an actual fucking reverend. That's the slippery slope that I run with putting that on the card. I can't just put Johnny Blumpkin. But the only other card I gave out was on the bus ride home, just to some guy that sat next to me because there was no other seat. And I think he was about my same age. He didn't really talk to us until some point when Rick and Joey busted out their phones to see the Vikings trimming the roster down. And all of a sudden Joey's like, hey, check this out. And he makes me watch a video of a horse sucking its own dick.
That sounds like fun.
Which was a marvel to behold.
Yeah.
Because, let me give you the rundown. The horse turns its head to the right and reaches back and starts sucking its own dick. And horses have big teeth, so that's already dangerous. So it's going to town for a good 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds, and all of a sudden the horse pulls its head away, and just a fire hose of jizz.
Really?
And then the horse puts its head up and just makes this weird horse smile. Just fucking enjoying itself so much. So I made some off-color Mr. Ed jokes. Just like, that would be an episode of Mr. Ed that would never make it past the censors. Fucking Wilbur walks in like, Ed, what are you doing?
Thinking about your wife. God, doesn't anybody know how to knock anymore? Get out.
But of course, they'd never make a horse say anything like that or pretend to blow itself. So this guy is laughing at me talking about that. And somehow I mentioned Juice, my 5-year-old, not swearing. Even though I swear. I'm like, she's only slipped one time and said shit. I'm like, what? She's like, uh-oh. And covered her mouth, as kids will do when they catch themselves. Like, I always wonder about that. Because, like, my daughter's 3, and I'm always watching my mouth and catching myself so that she isn't here. I'm like, here's how I do it. I used to do what you do, and then I stopped. And now I just say whatever I want, and it feels great. And then I tell them, those are adult words, and you can't say them. Like the time we were at my mom's, and Chi-Chi goes, Grandma, Daddy says when I'm an adult, when I'm big, I can say all the F words. I can say all of them.
But why?
All the time. And here's my mom. What? You didn't. What is she talking about? I'm like, I told her. I'm like, you can't say the F word because you're a kid. But when you're an adult, you can say the F word all you want. So when you're growing up, that's when you can say it, but not now. Like, it was a teachable moment. That was the reasoning I used, and she seems to believe in it. So to hell with what you think.
I'm going to get out of here.
I'm like, fuck it. I pull out my wallet. I pull out a card. I'm like, well, since you enjoy this conversation, I'm going to give you one of my card here. This is for my show. And we talk about stuff like this sometimes. And it's kind of like Mr. Rogers on crack with some game show action. So check it out. And he's like, oh, yeah, Blumpkin and Friends. That's awesome. Yeah, my friend and I were just talking about this the other day. Well, what, Blumpkins or Blumpkin and Friends, my show? I never got a straight answer. I wasn't sure if he was bullshitting me. He's like, yeah, we were just talking about this. I'm like, well, if you were talking about my show, that's weird because I have, like, no listeners. You putting me on, sir. I appreciate you patting my ego.
You're funny.
But the whole trip could not have happened if not for a horrible event that took place that same Saturday. And that was Uncle Bumblefuck there got married.
The Beast's
brother. So they had to go take a trip 4 hours away to Detroit Lakes. So she took the girls, and then I got to go have fun. And then, apparently they went there, and the Juice made a speech. Yeah, she grabs the mic, and stupid Beast doesn't fucking record it with her phone like she should have. She's like, I wish I would have recorded it. I'm like, you have to push like 5 buttons to record, right? What the fuck? She said ahead of time, I'm going to make a speech. Get ready. So she said some stuff, and then she invited everybody there to her October 11th birthday at Chuck E. Cheese.
That's awesome.
And then she goes, okay, Mommy, I'm done inviting people now. I won't invite any more people. And it was apparently adorable. But I don't get to hear it because nobody fucking taped it. And let me just say that them going to that wedding, we fought about that for 2 weeks, whether they were going to go or not, because we fight over days and making up days when she takes them on my time because she's selfish. So yeah, there was that. And then all of that cuntiness snowballed into today, which was the Juice's first day of kindergarten.
It's a big day.
It is a big day. And she was being such a rancid bitch about it. She called me yesterday, panicking about whether or not I remembered to get the earbuds, which I had, and to remind me to bring them. And then she called me at work last night, which she's not supposed to do because I had my boss tell her not to call there anymore. She must have forgot. She calls me crying because she doesn't have a juice box to stick in her lunch bag.
Wow,
and
that's pathetic.
I told her, I'm like, so why don't you send a bottle of water or give her some money for milk? Well, you can't just buy a milk. I'm like, you just buy a milk. I'm pretty sure you could just go, here's 75 cents. I'm going to drink this fucking milk. They're not going to say no. And, well, I don't have any bottled water, so can you please just go in the morning to the store and bring a juice box? Just get her a juice box. So I went to the store. It just so happened that I was wearing a very ratty-ass t-shirt. So I was going for t-shirts and a juice box. But in reality, what I was going for was one of those thermos cups with the pop-open straw that she can put liquid in and take with her and then sip at her leisure. So I got one. And then I got a 24-pack of water. And then before I could even show up to fight about the water I brought instead of the juice box, I get a phone call 10 minutes before I'm supposed to leave. Do you have a rain jacket for her? Yeah. Why is it at your house? I need it. Because my mom bought it and it was winter and then she hasn't needed it and you had one for her at your house, so I need one at my house. Plus you bitch when there's too much stuff at your house. She always accuses me of hoarding shit. She's the one who hoards shit. She claims there's no clothes at her house. There are clothes that I gave her to have at her house plus clothes that are supposed to be at my fucking house. That I have to keep an itinerary of what goes in and out of the house like a fucking insane person, and then call her and be like, hey, I am missing one set of Chi-Chi pajamas, rainbow-colored zebra pants, kitty on the shirt. I'm also missing 2 pairs of Minnie Mouse underwear and 1 pair of socks with pink polka dots. Get on that. That's the way it goes when you got a co-parent with somebody like her. So we fought about the rain jacket, which then became that I never give her stuff and she's always ill-prepared. And then, like she always does, she brings up the downward deviation in child support that she agreed to. She's like, I was supposed to get $491 and I'm getting $300. I'm like, you're getting $300 plus what I pay in medical and dental. So shut the fuck up. Well, if you just give me more money, then I don't have to ask you for a check for a haircut that you were supposed to take her to get that I had to her, for money to buy a rain jacket for Chi-Chi. I'm like, no. Juice gets the new one. Chi-Chi gets the old one. That was Juice's, because it still fits and it's in excellent condition. Well, no, it's not. What do you mean? The buttons still snap and there's no tears in it. It's a fucking raincoat. So we fought about the court again. Like, will you go ahead and you call your child support officer and you tell them that you need more money? And then I'll tell them that I have no more money and I'll have to sell my car to give you more money, and then I won't be able to go to my job, which just so happens to be a part of the same government agency that holds the child support order over my head. So they're going to be like, whoa, what the fuck? And I'm going to go, I'm not an ATM. And I've said that to her so many times. Today I finally lost. I'm like, I'm so sick of you and your fucking money talk and your downward deviation shit, you gold digging bitch. Quit smoking and eating out. You'll have tons of money. My job in life is to not give you half of what I make because we weren't married. And you didn't earn it because you were terrible at being a girlfriend. And you're not much better at being a mom. So go fuck yourself.
What a terrible spider web you've woven.
Yeah, well, so I show up to school, and then she parks right behind me, and then I walk up to the car, and I'm like, here's your rain jacket, let's put it on. And I'm standing there under her umbrella trying to get the 5-year-old to put on a raincoat by herself, which didn't work so well. And then I pull out the bottle of water. What is that? I got her a bottle of water because juice is more expensive and sugary. Well, it's not going to fit in her lunch bag. And I already promised her a juice box. Way to fuck everything up. Because the entire quality of a child's first day of kindergarten hinges upon whether or not there's a fucking Capri Sun in the little bag that they bring with. You have a beverage, and you have clothes on your back, and you don't drink, shower, and shit in the same water supply. I'd say you're doing pretty fucking good. Why don't you ask some Ethiopian kids about their first day of kindergarten? Oh, wait, they don't have kindergarten there. They have war.
How did you know that?
So then we walked in, and she's like, just lay off me. I'm having a hard day. And I'm like, you're always having a hard day, you chemically imbalanced maniac. They wouldn't let us in the school. They made us stand under this overhang and wait for the bell to ring to go inside. And up walks Juice's friend from last year who's in her class. Apparently the bus did not stop for this girl. It showed up early. It rolled by the stop and then turned the corner and left her. And her mom was like trying to wave and flag her down, and like they were standing a few feet away from where it's supposed to stop. The bus drivers just do that shit. They're probably frustrated. It's time to go back to work. It's the first day. It's stressful. But for me, the first day of school, terrific. It's the end of what I call speed bump season.
Explain.
Children on bikes in the street, walking, playing, getting hit by cars and wondering why because they don't obey the rules of the road. Now you're in a fucking bus or you're standing on the corner making sure you're going to get your bus. And then you're in school. So I can drive like an asshole all I want. And I don't have to worry about your parents crying to the newspaper.
It is better that way.
Which in the burbs, there's a lot of fucking kids. Like, anytime I see a kid on a bike in my neighborhood, do you think they're on the sidewalk?
No.
No. They're in the middle of the fucking road.
Do you even have sidewalks out in the suburbs?
We
here?
do. Why would we not have sidewalks in the
I don't know,
suburbs?
some don't.
We're not in the exurbs. This isn't like the Oregon Trail days where it's just like
I didn't have any in
beating
my
down
suburb.
dirt in between the tall grass on the way to the next stop to pick up oxen feed and cholera. And yeah, speed bump season's over, and now we go in the building when the bell rings. And we get there, and I look at her name, and I look at the names at her table where she's supposed to sit, which is right by the chalkboard, thank God. I told her she needs to shut the hell up and listen and not talk the whole time, because that got her into trouble at karate over the summer, where I made her start sitting in the back row with me. And then her friend, who was supposed to sit across from her, was at a different table now. Juice didn't walk up and see it. The other girl walked up and goes, where's my name? I'm not Eva. I'm like, oh, honey, your seat's over here. Let me show you. I saw they moved you. I don't know why, but you have to sit over here now. And she's just like, pouty lipping it. Like, here's kindergarten for this kid. Her mom has to drive her in the fucking rain because the school bus passed her by, and she gets to class, and she's all excited to sit with my kid, and they've separated them, and the teacher's justification, well, I just figured they'd talk a lot, so I wanted to separate them.
Oh, bitch.
How does your first day of kindergarten go? Do you remember it?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't remember my first day of kindergarten, no. I don't.
At all?
No. But I do remember some of kindergarten.
Like?
Like, I think I was in the AM part, and I walked myself to school. And
Alone?
Alone, yes.
What the fuck?
Yes.
That's the 80s for you.
Yep, it was a better time, yeah. You didn't have to worry as much. But at the end of my AM, I would actually go to the parochial school, and my stepdad was a janitor, and he would essentially babysit me by having me hang out in the gym, and I could have access to all of the gym toys. You know those little scooter square things?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had free and open access. It was pretty awesome.
But what good is that if you don't have somebody else to hold the other end of a jump rope and tow you?
You figure those things out when this is how you grow up.
You just sit there and hold the sides and like scoot backwards and bump into shit.
Oh, I did. I was jumping off of stuff. I really enjoyed that. Pre-skateboarding.
I suppose.
It wasn't that bad. And, kids aren't very nice. And I think I knew that at a young age. So why not play by yourself in the gym with all the toys by yourself?
I was also not very nice as a kid. Maybe that's because the other
nice.
kids were mean to me.
Yes, they were mean to me. I was very nice.
Like, I had to tell this little girl, like, don't worry about the bus, sweetie. The bus didn't stop for me on the first day of kindergarten either. And then the second day of kindergarten, I got into the coat room because we had a coat room. I showed up and some kid was I don't know what the hell he was doing. He was being annoying. So I started calling him Robbie Poopy Booger Butt.
Oh, that's nice.
I thought it was pretty creative at the time. I was 5. Which, by the way, I was 3 weeks into being 5 when I went to school. I went way young because my birthday was in the summer. And my folks were like, let's get him the fuck out of here. Which is good, because it was better to be a class of 2000 than a class of 2001.
Yeah,
being a
that's
double
satisfying.
0 fits in a lot better than being a 1 with my life. Oh. So the teacher comes into the coat room, and she's like, hey, who is saying this? Are you talking these things to Robbie? Did you say this? Did you call him Robbie Poopy Booger Butt? I'm like, yeah. Come with me. So I was like on fucking timeout within 10 minutes of the second day of kindergarten. And that's just like a modicum of what my school life was. I missed a lot of recess
I did too.
for fighting.
Oh.
I also apparently was a pathological liar the first few years.
A lot of kids go through that.
Holy shit. Because I went to Catholic school, we'd start out the day by lighting a candle and saying our morning prayer song and then saying something we're thankful for. I was thankful for a new Siamese cat that I never had. I was thankful for, and this is first grade, a new baby brother that I didn't really have. And here's the teacher. I didn't know your mom was pregnant. She could have been, because my mom had a lot of miscarriages. She tried to have a bunch before me and a bunch after me, and the babies just kept dying because of her sour uterus. And yeah, so like these are some of the lies I told. And then it got to be where we would say, oh, I'm thankful for so-and-so and so-and-so. And then she's like, okay, you have to be thankful for everyone. You can't just leave people out. God. Dick move. Which I would purposely leave out this kid, Sam, because we didn't get along. I don't know why I had an enemy in kindergarten, but I did. I mean, I had an enemy in preschool, too. His name was Chucky. We did not get along.
Why not?
I have no idea. And then one time, we started being nice to each other, and I asked my mom if I could go play at his house. My mom was like, no, we can't today. She had this air in her voice like, no, I don't want you to go over there and drink rat poison. I'm sure his mom is going to try to kill you off because you guys are usually fighting. But I had enemies as early as 3 years old. I don't know if that means there's something wrong with me or there's something wrong with society. But I had enemies at every stage of the game.
So despite your pathological lying and temporary lying, would you say it was because you were just really honest?
What, that I was lying about stuff?
No. If you're an asshole, sometimes you're just really honest.
Yeah, well, the truth isn't always pretty. You know, like when I see a chubby girl walking in a half-ripped tank top with a black eye at the state fair, and I'm like, that made my day. I don't know the backstory, but you just made my heart smile. And Asian people all standing together, normally I would be worried about the prospect of there being any jobs in IT or accounting for anybody else with you all being here, but thank you for being all 13 of you together right now. Thank you for being the equivalent of an NBA roster, just so I can go, that's a point for me. But lesbians, there was a state fair attendance record broken on Saturday. Where the fuck were you? I don't care if it's 80 degrees. There are short sleeve plaid shirts. I expected to see lesbian butts in jeans and plaid shirts.
They live in my neighborhood, and that's probably where they were.
They don't have like gay day at the fair. I would so go to that. Everybody would be either really, really happy and dancing or just sitting around being like cynical bitches.
People would be having fun.
The state fair should do that. They have like sports day and
Military day.
Senior day, gay day. Do you have any state fair memories of your own? You had to have been before.
Actually, I have a very good memory for you.
Okay, good. Fire away.
This is good as a dad. We were viewing The Big Pig. Have you ever seen The Big Pig?
Is it the big, like,
the giant
brassy-
pig of the year? It's just laying the big pig. It's like
Okay.
the whole attraction. It's the whole deal. In
at
my
the
opinion.
4-H
Yeah.
place?
Well, as you know, The Big Pig has very big balls. I mean, they're very big. They're very. You can see them right out in the open.
They should be proportionate to large swine.
They are. But they are impressive. So, anyways, we are all standing around the big pig, viewing its monstrosity, and there's a little boy and his father, and the little boy, very loud and interrupts everything, and points right at the big balls and says, "Daddy, what are those?" so loud that everybody just went silent because we just wanted to hear his answer. And he just said, well, son, those are his friends.
That's the best he could come up with on short notice.
He did a good job, you know. It was on the spot.
I would have been like, he has a tumor. That's a very large tumor.
Oh.
That reminds me of the first time that the Juice noticed a wiener on anything in front of me.
Yeah.
Which, because I have daughters and because I was also raised this way, my dad was militant about nobody standing up to pee in the house because he didn't want piss sprinklings on the side of the bowl and the floor. So he made us sit down to pee. You know, it's more relaxing. You just sit there and just put your face in your hand and rub your eyes and think about all the shit that you don't like that's going on that day and just let the pee happen. It just points down. So when the girls are here, I absolutely sit down to pee. And then I have to like stand up and like tuck it back and pull my underwear like up to my middle of my thighs like an old woman would before I stand up and put him back on. So we're outside and the neighbor comes over with his dog, which is a pit bull. And you know, we're petting Razor and they're rubbing his back. And all of a sudden, he kind of rolls all the way on his back and presents his stomach. And his wang is there. It's not pink and like coming out like the lipstick thing. The dog gets a boner.
Yeah.
But she goes, "What's that?" I'm like, "It's his belly button." Yeah, he's got, some people have outies. You have an innie, I have an innie, Chi-Chi has an innie, the dog has an outie. Come on, let's not look at it. I'm like, Razor, come here. To get him off his back so that they're not staring at his dick. Apparently she's seen a wiener before when
The Beast.
had the bandit over. It's her roommate and not good friend anymore. And she was changing her son's diaper and she saw the little meathead's wiener. And she's like, "What is that?" And here's
The Beast.
that's the difference between boys and girls, okay? Oh. Okay, I'm like, oh, thank God she didn't get all fucking super interested like, oh, well, why don't I have a wiener? You know, what happens if you flick it? Bing. Like something like that. Like as a father, you're mortified at the thought of your children accidentally becoming hypersexualized in the mind at a young age. Like, oh, penises and vaginas. Like, I never want to meet the kid that's just like the kindergarten cop son whose dad is a gynecologist, who's always just like, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. My dad's a vaginologist. He looks at vaginas all day. That portion is fine. All right. Even at times the girls will mention something about a gynie. And I'll be like, yep, no, my gynie's fine. Leave me alone.
I'm gonna get out of here.
Because I don't want him to find out about that. Which is also why I don't like taking him places where there's like petting zoos and shit. Because there's animals with dicks hanging out. And I don't want him to see the animal dicks. Be like, oh, look at that. No, don't look at it. Don't look at that furry penis and ask me questions. Because I don't have answers and this is making me uncomfortable. I'm squirming.
When did you find out about sex?
When I was like 5 or 6.
Wow.
Yeah, so I became like 13 right then. I don't recommend it. So if you're ever wondering why my humor skews almost primarily towards sexual humor and poop humor, you can blame me learning about sex at a young age and my dad for the poop humor. That is why. So far I'm doing better than he did because Juice is about to turn 6 and she doesn't know about sex yet. Jury's still out. I got to get 3 more years on Chi-Chi. But they both love to talk about poop and make poop jokes. And that's my fault. I'm keeping a tried and true family tradition by teaching them about all things that have to do with Dookie.
I didn't know what it was until I was in 5th grade, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
You're so lucky.
My stepmom found my diary, and I wrote that I wanted to have sex with this boy I knew, but I didn't actually know what it meant.
You just wrote that?
Yeah.
I got yelled at by the neighbor kid's mom because I said there was a cute 6th grader that I wanted to see her boobs and touch them. And I was, I think, in 4th grade at the time. I knew what boobs were, and I liked them. I liked to see boobs. We had cable when I was very young.
Oh, yes. Beavis and Butthead at a very young age myself.
Well, for me, I've talked about how my dad tried to give me the sex talk when he caught me watching Lethal Weapon 2. And Mel Gibson's trying to get it on with some foxy blonde chick in the trailer that he lives in, which isn't like a mobile home. It's like a fucking real trailer on wheels that you hook up to a truck hitch.
Okay.
So that was me. Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It? That is at What Do We Call It? You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I am Jmann.
And this is Spacey.
And that's the end. This is terrible. I can't even use this.
Well, I kind of need my headphones.
No, you don't. Put them down.
But I kind of need...
They don't fit. They don't fit you.
Why?
Because. Put the fucking headphones down.
But I want them.
You want to keep moving around in that bucket and fall down on the floor and get a concussion? Be my guest.
No, I want that.
You can't have it.
I want it.
They don't fit your head. Your head's too small.